So kind of retouching back onto the pre-race nutrition planning thing that you mentioned the day before with hydration, Tom has a question about that too. He says, "Hi guys, love the podcast. I have a few circuit races and crits coming up lasting about 1.5 to 2 hours, which require me to get up and leave the house by 7 a.m. for a 10 a.m. start. And I wanted to know what the best nutrition strategy is to make sure I'm fueled for the race. We face this problem pretty regularly here in the sense that a lot of our road races are over the hill, so a bit of a commute. It says, currently I'm thinking of eating some slow-releasing energy foods such as eggs on toast at 6:30-ish or having a fruit smoothie with some oats, bananas, blueberries in it before maybe having a gel after warming up before I race. Is this suitable, or is this a suitable strategy? Many thanks, Tom."
Yeah, so we all have something to contribute on this. Let me kick it off just by saying, just by stating the goals of sports nutrition. I mean, we basically have 3 aims: replenish glycogen, assuming there's any depletion, repair muscle damage, and synthesize new muscle. Okay. Cool. So in this case, all we're looking at is the glycogen side of that. So we can omit those other 2 concerns and just focus on glycogen stores.
Awesome.
I was going to say his 3 options again, which was eggs and toast at 6:30. So he'd have probably 3.5 hours. A fruit smoothie while he drives, so a fruit smoothie over 3 hours with oatmeal, and then separate than that, a gel right before warm-up.
Yep.
So you want to go on each one of those at once, Chad?
Yeah, let's cover actually, let's step back to the day before, because I think that this is something that
so
a lot of athletes perhaps, and we were actually talking about my terrible experience, my terrible example at Sea Otter 2 years ago. I think I did a race, and I thought, man, I feel like I'm getting dropped on the climbs, and so panicked about it. I think I can drop a couple pounds maybe.
Like this is like a race on Saturday and then a race on Sunday, and you're like, Saturday night, I'm going to drop a few pounds.
I'm going to drop a few, and it's going to help me climb way better.
I can't tell you how many things are wrong with that.
So I had a terrible decision. I had an seared ahi tuna salad, so like just super light on carbs, right?
Maybe none.
Yeah, like hardly any. I had some lettuce with some raw fish, and that. I raced the next day, and I was at the front of the pack solid because in my mind, I think psychologically, I told myself, I'm a bit lighter. I'm good, And when I'm at the front of the pack for the first half of that race, and then it was genuinely an explosion. You probably could have heard it. Like, I just blew out the back of that race.
I heard it in Reno, actually.
Yeah. And as soon as I did that, I thought, I am completely out of energy. What am I thinking? You have to start your nutrition. If you're looking at race day, it starts before then, at least the day before.
Yeah, and that should be our concern. It sounds like that's what Tom's concern is that he's going to run out of gas over the course of the race. So he wants to make sure he's as loaded up as possible. And like we're talking about right now, that starts well before the race. We're not talking morning of. We're talking day before, maybe a couple days before, depending on the duration of the race and if you're going to delve into carb loading possibilities, et cetera. But it starts the day before. So in a lot of people I know do priming workouts, and that should also be a factor. So don't skip the fact that even if you just did a 20-minute effort, there's some glycogen depletion that takes place there that needs to be compensated for later on. So just keep that in mind as well.
I've totally been experimenting with this, and I haven't found an upper limit where like the day before or even like the few days before, I've eaten so many carbs, as long as they're not like Oreos and Twinkies.
There's not really evidence of an upper limit. I mean, it's really what your stomach can tolerate. And then if you're comfortable with maybe adding a little bit of fat mass, you eat too much carbohydrate, it gets stored. Big deal. You carry an extra third of a pound into a race, but you're completely topped off.
Yeah.
I want to say that Kenyan runners are like, they're doing like 3 or 4 hours a day, but it was like 10 grams per kilogram was like the limit for them.
It's a lot.
Yeah. That's a lot.
They do a lot of work. They burn a lot of calories.
And I just want to reinforce, we've mentioned this a lot, but when we say carbs, I know carbs are associated as being evil, and a lot of people think carbs. They think of Froyo, Oreos, and
Coke.
They think of chips and
refined sugar usually.
Donuts.
Yeah, that's and when you're taking on, we're talking about high quality carbohydrate from fruits, from vegetables, from
even those lower quality carbohydrates have their place.
Yeah,
we'll get to that when we get to the energy gel.
Yeah. So when you're talking about loading up, you're not just not getting a big old package of double stuff Oreos.
Sweet potatoes with black beans, oatmeal, a bunch of fruit, carrots, sugar snap peas, stuff like that.
High quality food.
Yeah. Okay, so Chad, let's say they eat the day before. Yeah. Let's go back to his question now. What do you think he should do the morning of?
think as long as he addresses his nutrition properly the day before, he's pretty close to topped off as it is. Over the course of the evening, he'll sacrifice some liver glycogen, so get up and restock that. And he's got the advantage of being a few hours out from his race, so he can do that. What was he talking about, 6:30 in the morning for a 10 o'clock race?
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe even play it safe and start eating at 6, whatever. Even 6:30 is probably enough time to digest most of what we'd recommend, or I'd recommend you eat. And that's probably, I don't know that you're going to get a lot out of the eggs. I don't know that a influx of protein prior to a race is really going to do much for you.
Right.
Post-race, it's much more of a concern. Prior to the race, I don't know that there's a whole lot of benefit in that. So I would just keep that meal carbohydrate centric. And because you're, a few hours prior to the race, they can be more complex forms of carbohydrate. It doesn't have to be the quick burning, quick metabolizing stuff.
Yeah, because if you think about it, that's the type of stuff that you need in that race, is that energy that you're going to be using when things are going pretty hard. So you need to be able to have that on board. And I look at the food beforehand, but like morning of, I love having like eggs and like a traditional American breakfast. I love that, but before a race,
it's not
I don't
really
eat
performance
that way.
food.
Yeah, and then I look at that and I think, what is that really going to do for me on the bike? I should, if there's any time to make sure that, once again, assuming you're already topped off because you've eaten properly the day before and everything else, coming into that, you're not trying to load yourself up with anything. You should really be looking at like, I want race gas right now. Like I want good fuel.
Race gas.
Topping
I don't
off
want the stores.
Yeah, I'm not going to pull up to any pump and just put in whatever. I'm just going to put in the good stuff.
So Tom, I'll tell you what I would do. At that 6:30 a.m., I would leave out the eggs. I would do like a whole wheat toast with jam, and then I would have the fruit smoothie with the oats, bananas, and blueberries at the same time. And I wouldn't have anything, maybe in less water, leading up to the race
on the
until
drive.
on the drive. We talked about that. You can, and this is going to be different for everybody, but Chen and I both experienced
It's going
that
to be a heck of a lot different.
hypoglycemic state you can get in.
Yeah,
Over the course of that 2-hour drive to the race and being, an hour outside of the race itself, there's not a whole lot of benefit. You're not looking for a big bump in your blood glucose when all you're doing is sitting driving a car.
Yeah. We also talked about something that perhaps people could misunderstand is hunger as needing to actually fuel yourself with more, because that could then hurt you in the race. And I think that a lot of people, especially endurance athletes, if they eat small regular meals and then you have a 2 to 3 hour drive to your race or anything else like that, you might feel like you're hungry, but it's important to remember the fact that, once again, you're not depleted on glycogen.
Yeah, just relax and let it digest.
Yep, exactly right.
And then I would do the gel or some chews right before the race.
Yeah, we're talking right before the race, like not even 30 minutes. If you can do it 30 minutes is fine, but if you could do it 10 minutes before. So sitting on the start line, waiting for the marshal to describe the course, whatever. So while you're sitting there ready to roll, that's when you do that last little dose of sugar.
Gu recommends 15. I usually do 10 or something. I think about it, it depends on how the race is going to start. If the race is going to start blown up, or the race is going to be a rollout for 20 minutes, then I might do it right before. I'll even put it in I'll zip up my jersey and kind of put it right here so I don't forget it. And then just eat it, and then as long as there's some trash, you're okay.
Yeah. If it starts, and also I guess keep in mind the type of race that you're doing. If you're doing short crits or anything else, or if you're doing something like a long road race, right? If you're doing something that's like a shorter crit, and that as soon as that thing drops, you're going to be pinned. It might be tougher for you to perhaps process that if you're just pushing all that blood in your body is just going to your muscles. So you might not, and if it's usually that's a shorter race usually. So you might
and
not
something
need
like a gel is going to break down quickly anyway. I mean, it doesn't require a lot of digestive resources to get 70 calories worth of almost already chewed food through your system. Yeah.
I guess thereafter it's all, and we won't delve into, I guess, fueling once the race is continued and you're going on. I feel like this is probably, if so much of nutrition, if you're trying to solve the nutrition problem once you get into the race without having any attention put in beforehand, you're late to the bus, so to speak. You really have to front load that one to make sure that you're planned. And it makes, I think, a lot of people, myself included, for plenty of years, I was blaming my mid-race nutrition on problems, but whether it was performance problems or it was gut problems or anything else. But really, if I would have just fueled better coming into it, then maybe I wouldn't have needed to do that.
And Tom says, I have a few circuit races crits coming up, which says he has room for experimentation. So make this the learning process that it ought to be. Try things that you think are going to work, find out whether they work or not.
Try with workouts.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
good opportunity.
Totally in a 90-minute workout, you're probably not going to run out of glycogen.
Right.
But I've noticed, man, the more I
Start to fade though.
yeah, you feel so much stronger. And when you finish, there's this psychological benefit too. When you finish a workout and at the end, you're not like super cooked.
There's a massive physiological benefit too, which we'll cover in a question coming up.
And then the next workout's easier and the next one's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eat some carbs.
Much better.